Hi guys, I'm Harpz Kaur, and it's been an absolute pleasure to be on the Voice It Out podcast, which is something I stand for, don't keep it in. Voice it out.
Hi, it's Amrita, and welcome back to the Voice It Out podcast. Today's guest I'm really excited about because we've wanted her on for quite a long time. It's broadcaster, host, and DJ. Everyone's favourite, I think, Harpz Kaur. Hi, Harpz.
Oh, everyone's favourite. I don't know about that, but
Our favourite. Let's say that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining me. Like I said, we've been waiting to have you on.
I know. Do you know what? I'm actually so sorry I've made you wait a while, but here we are.
Exactly that. Here we are.
Yeah.
So obviously, I think a lot of people will know you from your time at the BBC as a breakfast show host. And you did some other shows there as well before you got to breakfast. But I have to ask you, from before that, because we know that your media career does not start at the BBC.
It doesn't.
So do you want to just give a little bit about how did you get to the BBC, basically? What was your journey to that particular show?
I'm glad you actually touched upon that, because I think a lot of people think my career started at the BBC and it didn't, but it definitely did give me that boost that I needed at a certain point in my life. But getting there, it was a struggle. It definitely wasn't easy. I've had to do a lot of things that I didn't like. I've been in positions where, you're not enjoying something, but you've got to do it to get there. Faced a lot of rejections. So I need people to understand it wasn't as easy as people think it is. Because sometimes I think when you land a job like the BBC, for people on the outside, it feels like, oh, it's just landed in her lap. So whatever theory someone's got, you think that. Things have definitely changed now in the time that we're living in. I do feel it's a lot easier to get there now compared to when I was trying to get there. So the kind of things that I had to do were figure out, how do I get recognised on my own in order to be in a building like that? Because no one's just going to pick me up from Huddersfield. Like, it's a small town up north. How's anyone going to know what I do? So when I went to uni, I decided to pick up media studies as my undergrad. I then went on to do a postgrad in broadcast journalism, thinking that I was going to go straight into a job off the back of that, because that's what you get told. Didn't quite work for me. That wasn't the case. So as much as I picked up all the experience, fell in love with the media scene, the showbiz world, music's been there in my blood from the start, I didn't quite know where to go with it, because I thought, I've educated myself, I've studied this, I know it like the back of my hand now, but why is it so hard to be somewhere and do something with it? So I tried to get a lot of work experience, and hence why I'm saying I have also worked in a lot of places I didn't want to work, doing things you don't want to do, making tea and coffee, which I'm not the best at. I'm terrible in the kitchen. So I've had to do all of that to get there. But it was one moment, I think, in my life, a step that I chose to take, which was probably the best decision I made. But at the time it felt, have I done the right thing? And that was picking up work experience at a local station in Leeds called Fever. It was called Fever FM. And from uni, I had to find a placement. So I went there, became another tea girl, but my ears and eyes were always on the studio. So I'd be there mixing someone's tea, going, but what are they doing and how are they doing it? I just wanted to watch. Yeah. Literally like a kid in a candy shop. So it would excite me. And finally I got to a point where they gave me my own show. And I was like, wow, how have I just landed a radio show, even though it's a small station? Yeah. It's just for the community. But for me, it was such a big deal. And I stayed there for nearly 7 years, voluntary. Never got paid.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it's you work for free, and 7 years is a long stint of staying in one spot, not making any money. So on the side, I was freelancing in the news world, which a lot of people don't actually know, because I am a qualified journalist. But I think everyone looks at me now thinking, Harpz, I can't see you being that serious. And that's exactly why I never wanted to stay in it. Because for me, even though I could do the job and I had the skill, I wasn't enjoying it. And I realised my personality is not for this. I can't be this serious to tell you what's happening in the world. So I did a lot of that. I did a lot of news shifts on so many different radio stations, Capital, Metro, TFM. God, I can't even remember. There were so many stations that I'd done little news shifts, but it would irritate me because I thought, even though I'm lucky I'm getting a few shifts here and there. This isn't what I want to do. I just wasn't enjoying it. It was more, I want my own show somewhere because I know that's my gift. I just knew.
Did you feel like it was helping in some way though, even though it might have been a bit frustrating to be there?
100,000% now when I look at it. When you're living it, it's frustrating as hell. Because for me, I was like, where do I go after this? Like, am I just going to stay here in this spot? Am I going to carry on doing this because no one's picking up on my skills or my qualities? So it's frustrating. But when I look back at my journey now, I've realised everything really does happen for a reason. And that reason is, I think I used Fever as my playground. And I'm so glad that I got all those years to practice, to really learn my craft, to really put in that work and effort of what it takes to be a good broadcaster. And the hardest part for my journey was I learned it all myself. Like I haven't really had someone mentoring me or sitting with me, and all my skills I've learned from uni, and I've just put it into practice and kind of worked it out myself. So back then there was not much social media. There was just YouTube, Snapchat. There was no Instagram, no TikTok. None of that existed. So I decided to start my own YouTube channel. Scared, not knowing what on earth to do with it. But I built it up so much through Fever that I'd already built some amazing connections, some amazing relationships. I was networking so much all by myself. Oh, sorry, Twitter was around as well. So I used to tweet artists just by myself. No one knew, they don't know who I am. I'm just like, oh, hi, I work at Fever. I know I've heard your new song. Would you like to come on? And if I didn't just try, how was I ever going to know? So even though some people didn't, there was a lot of people that said yes. And for me, that was like, whoa, Jazzy B just said yes to an interview. Like, he doesn't even know who I am. But I always tell people, if you don't try, you will never know. Exactly. And if I didn't do that, I would never have built such a great contact book, shall we say.
Great community, I guess, as well.
If I didn't do that. So I put in the work, I really did. And slowly over the years, people started to pick up, this girl's doing things, and we're not quite sure like where she's going with it, but we know who she is now. That was more of the work that I'd put in before anything had taken off. And it was hard. It's really hard when you're at the age of 21, 22, all the way through till about 25, 26, knowing that you're not making real income. And these are the years where you're supposed to build that. You know, you should be having money in your account, and I was looking at nothing. And that's hard.
I think it's hard, but also when I'm listening back to you, saying like reliving it almost, I feel like I totally identify with being young and just wanting to make a mark or make some sort of splash somewhere. And I think what that shows me and what you've just said, even though it was hard and even though you didn't really know what you were doing, but you were just putting yourself out there, you weren't scared of people saying no. Yeah. And I think that's so strong.
Yeah. And I think that is one thing I really try and stress to people when I talk about my journey, because I think people give in too quickly. And I've been there. I'm also that person. I know what that feels like. You know, I've thrown my toys out the pram and gone, okay, forget this then. It's not going to go anywhere. And then a few days later, after you've cried it all out and thrown things in your room like I did, you get over it and you go, no, actually, I do want to do this. I'll still figure it out. But I can't stay in the giving up mode. That's my problem. And I don't know if it's a flaw. I don't know if it's a good thing. I don't know. I just know that I don't like staying in that mood of, oh, forget it, I can't do this. Somehow I will always find something inside of me to remind me why I wanted to do this in the first place. And that gives me the fire again. Straight away I'm like, no, actually, get up, Harpz, like fix yourself and do this. But there were a lot of downtimes in that period before, let's say my time at the BBC. There was so much pain before that as well, because it looks great and you feel like you've learned so much and you've built this toolbox of skills, but you're lost because you don't know where to go with it.
Yeah.
And I felt lost for years, not months, like years, just trying to work out, I've got it, guys, but give me a chance. No one's giving me a chance. And I don't know why this happened to me in my journey, but everyone's story is different. But I do believe, and I'm going to give myself the credit, I'm finally in a position where I'm like, it's not bad to give yourself credit that you know you're good at.
Yeah.
And I know how hard I've worked for this. I know how much blood, sweat and tears literally I've put into wanting to become something. And I knew that one day something somewhere in the universe has to give me this back because I'm manifesting it. And I know I've manifested my life. Whether it was accidental, I don't know. But there's a lot of things I say from my mouth which later in life have actually happened. So I believe that if you really put your mind to it and say that it's going to happen for you, it will. But for me, the way it happened, to knock on so many doors and keep getting no's, or just not really finding the right place, and then eventually for someone to pick up, and it takes one person to see or hear what you've done. You have no idea where that's going to go. And that's what happened to me, and it changed my life.
I think it's not only inspiring, but it kind of, like you said, even though you're saying, or you feel like you've manifested it, it could literally just be a result of all that hard work.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be kind of labelled as a manifested thing. Do you see what I mean? Like, you did work hard for it. And as you've said, you've put in a lot. And at some point, it's almost inevitable. You feel like it is inevitable. But for people out there, sometimes it's not inevitable. And this is why I always say that if you are at the right place at the right time, and it doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter who you know, it will, if it's meant to be,
it will be.
It will be.
Yeah.
So, and it's really funny because even when we were talking on emails, we were trying to remember when we met, and I didn't actually realise it's over a decade ago.
I cannot believe when we spoke
And
that, oh wow, you actually did see me before this next chapter of my life. That was ages ago.
It was a long time ago. And when you told me the year, I was like, oh my God, okay, yeah, it was then. It
crazy.
was then.
That's wild.
That's absolutely mad.
Yeah.
And obviously I have seen via your social media some of the stuff you've done. I've seen the journey, or should I say, I've seen what you've shown from your journey, because obviously not everyone shows everything on social media, even though we think that we know them. It's not what happens. It's not what happens.
Yeah.
So when you did actually land at the BBC, I know that even getting something that big for someone like you who has worked that hard for it probably was not easy, especially starting off.
Where do I start? It was very tough for so many different reasons. I think the first call that I got to come down and do a pilot, which is a demo in Radio World, I went down and I just thought it was too good to be true. I looked at it, I saw the building, I went in, and the adrenaline inside of me that kicked in looking at the studio and just going, I'd love to just sit there and just do this. But it felt really far. I can't lie. I was in there and I just thought, this isn't going to happen to me. This can't happen to me. Like this, all my idols in the world of broadcast work in this building, and I'm sat in the same seat trying to show them what I can do. But it still felt for me in my brain that this isn't happening. And if it does, it's not going to happen yet. Like, surely it's not. People work so hard. It can't be easy. And it wasn't. But for me, I think I really did give it my everything, knowing I had this one shot to prove what I can do. Because sometimes that moment doesn't come again, as sad as that is. That's just reality. Sometimes that moment will not come back. So I thought, I have to give this everything. And when I did and I got there, I then didn't realize how hard it was going to be, because you just think, oh, I've got a great opportunity and it's changed my life. This is going to be great. Wow, did I get hit in the face with so many different types of things, and the pressure that comes with being on such a big platform. No one's ready for that. Like no one trains you on what it's going to feel like if you make it from here to here. No one's going to tell you what that jump feels like. You have to figure it out yourself. And to go from a local station like I did and to go, whoa, I'm on a national platform now where thousands and thousands of people around the world can listen to me. That's a lot to take in. And so my journey, I can only talk for myself. Everyone's is very different. But I think for me, to get headhunted in the end, you know, to get someone actually go, oh, I've seen this girl and what she does. Let's bring her in and try it. Is amazing, because I tried for 7 years to get somewhere. But then to also be given opportunities how I did, like start off by doing the Sunday breakfast show and then going on to the weekend breakfast show and then being given the weekday breakfast show is how my career went. It doesn't really happen to a lot of people either in that way. There's a lot of steps that you have to take to get to breakfast, I guess, is what I'm saying. And I knew that in my head, I was living in the fast lane. Like everything was happening so quickly once I got that opportunity that it was quite scary at the same time. And I don't think I was ready for it at the age I was at. Maybe that's why it happened when it did. And it didn't when I wanted it back at 21, because I probably wouldn't have known how to handle it. And then to also take over such a huge show and fill big shoes is also another pressure that adds on to it, because now I've also got to make everybody get used to me every day, and that's not easy either. So people really forget like how much actually goes into it. You don't just walk into a studio and talk for 4 hours and it's easy. Like there's so much you have to take in. So there was a lot of pressure, and I think my first year of weekday breakfast in particular was probably the hardest year of my life, I think, in my career. I will never forget that. And I was balancing way too many things. You know, I just got married. I had to move my whole life to London, and lifting your life from the north to the south is not easy. It's two completely different planets. Like, you know, I come from a small little village in the hills, and I've come, you know, I live practically near a farm up north. So to come to London where all the hustle bustle is going on, it was a lot to take in. I became very homesick. I fell into depression for a while. And that happened because I couldn't handle the social media aspect of it and being so exposed to the public. I didn't know that was going to happen. I think I was so oblivious to just wanting this job so bad or that opportunity to sit and really show what I can do and enjoy it, that I forgot that, oh my God, like everybody knows me. And I don't know if I like that. I didn't know if I liked that bit. It made me feel very uneasy. And I think it was the internet that destroyed my brain at that point, because I couldn't handle the fact that what I wanted to do came with so much judgment. And I wasn't ready.
Expectation.
I wasn't ready for that.
Because like you said, you were stepping in
wasn't ready
where
for that.
people were used to a different feel to that particular show.
Yeah.
But also, how did you eventually handle that then, like the social media and the internet aspect? Because that's, as you said, it's not easy, but it kind of comes part and parcel of
100%.
the job that you took, right?
And you know what's weird? Like the time we're living in now, everything's revolved around social media. Everything is a numbers game now. So I'm shocked. Like I'm still in shock that I didn't have to do this to get work. But back then it was destroying me. I can't tell you how different social media was 10, 15 years ago to how it is now. Now it's so normal to know that, oh, if you put something on social media, everybody knows you. Back then it wasn't like that. We were just using it and, you know, trying to figure it out and still winging it. So I didn't know what to do at first, because I was struggling and suffering a lot with the negative. And no matter how many people I spoke to in the media industry, so many legends I was so lucky to be around, incredible broadcasters that became friends. I was so lucky to get tips and advice from them. But I just couldn't believe what I was hearing every time I spoke to people. Like, how do you deal with like the negative side of stuff? Everybody talks about the positive because that's so easy to talk about. But I think I was the only one at that point going, but I want to figure out the negative. Why is this happening? And how do you deal with it? And I always got told, never read your own press, never read anything about yourself. And I'm sorry to say I'm very different. I'm the person that if I see my name, I want to know. I want to know what's written about me. And I think it's a natural human instinct that just makes you go, but what are they saying? And I did try for a long time going, I'm not going to look. Something's posted today, but I'm not going to look at the comments. Another video's gone up, I'm not going to look. Oh, come on. How long can you keep avoiding it? So it is hard. And I know some people can build up the strength to do that, but I couldn't. So I really struggled. And that's when I fell into depression, and I had to go through a lot. I went for therapy. I went for counselling. I was on, meds trying to figure out how to live this life. I've just left everything up north. My life's changed overnight. I've moved into a completely new city. I'm trying to get the world to love me. And it was so hard. I don't even know how to explain it. It was just so hard. But with the right help and the right people around me, I finally got there. But it took me about a year, I think, to really settle into that chair and go, okay, we're ready to go now.
I mean, a year, you can say it's a year, but a year is a long time.
A long time. Very long time.
I'm so happy that you openly share this, because like you said, I think when you're in a creative career that is open to the public eye, a lot of people just expect everything just nicely slots into place.
That it just came.
It just doesn't.
It doesn't.
I think, like, I commend you for the journey you've taken and you still being there for 6 more years after that. Yeah. But obviously it's one of those things where if you haven't been through it and it's new to you, but it's not brand new because you were in the media in some aspect. But at the same time, were you able to kind of come out of it and think, okay, I can actually handle this? Or are you still a little bit like, okay, this has been posted, I'll look at it in a few days, or I'm not in the right state of mind at the moment, I'll look at it later on. Do you actually have those boundaries now in place?
I'm still quite hesitant, I can't lie. I know I'm more active on socials now and everybody can see that, but I'm going to be really honest. I have to do it. That's what you have to do to get work now. And that is literally why I'm doing it. Do I enjoy it? Not always. I do sometimes have to really force myself to do it. But I don't think I've shifted, if I'm going to be really honest with myself, that feeling of that anxiety that I get. And I suffer from anxiety, and I always have, but I think social media made it worse ever since I got at the breakfast show, because I just didn't realise all this was going to keep happening, and you're constantly around it, you're reading things the first thing in the morning, and it's not easy to balance that. So I think I haven't really got out of it completely, but I will say I'm way, way more thick-skinned now than I was when I started. I had no idea how tough this industry was going to be regardless, just as a whole. So there was a lot of things I had to do to toughen myself up and really get myself out of it. There was a lot of things I needed to do to work on myself, to work on my mindset, to work on how to train my brain that you don't focus on one negative comment, Harpz. You focus on hundreds of positive people around the world giving you love. But I couldn't do that at the beginning. I kept going, no, that's really nice, but who is this? And what's your problem? And I couldn't sleep. I'd had sleepless nights over stupid comments. I've actually screenshot a lot and still kept a lot.
Oh, wow.
And there's a reason for that, because I feel like one day I just want to share. People think I just get a lot of love, and I'm so blessed, very lucky, touch wood. I'm so grateful that I'm at that point. But I want people to know it wasn't always like that. And there's a lot of people out there that also give me a lot of sticks. So, Beyonce gets negative comments on YouTube. So those kind of things, when you train your brain to think that way, makes it a little bit easier, because you think, okay, it's not just me. Everybody gets it. It's not just you.
Yeah.
But when you start this whole process of posting things and exposing yourself, it's very scary at first, because especially when you're on a platform that big. And because my show became so big, and I thankfully, managed to take off with it, and it was an incredible journey. Had some great times. It was still very tough to balance. So even now, I've worked out little techniques of how to calm myself down if I get to that point. If I can feel myself getting really agitated over something, I know how to just be like, it's all right. You've just got to push things to the back of your mind, because I've realised not everyone is going to accept anything that you ever do anyway, and that is just life in a nutshell with everyone and anyone. So you just have to either accept it and learn to move on and cope with it, find those things to deal with it. And I have a lot of escapes now, and those really help me. The gym, I know when I'm training and I'm zoned out in a different way, I get to not just offload my tension and get all of that aggression out, but I clear my mind. I clear my mindset. I feel better after that. Music follows me everywhere I go. Dance, as everybody knows, it's more of just for me to release. I just feel those little things that I implement into my life just make me feel better about certain things. And I have to say, the biggest thing I've learned out of all of that is surrounding yourself with the right people. And I don't think I did that for a long time. I think you work out as you go along what's good for you and what's not. But at the time, you think everyone's good for you and everything's great for you. Everybody's your friend, but they're not. And I've had that happen to me loads of times. And I keep realising, I thought this person was this. I thought this person was that. But until you don't figure out that support system, it is tough. But when you get to that point, which I feel I'm at now, I know my people now and I can count them on one hand. And I'm so happy that I've got to a point of going, I don't need these many friends.
Yeah.
I don't need these many best friends or whatever you want to call them. I love a lot of people, of course, and I'm blessed to have that. But my real people, they're the ones that are going to help me get through this. And it's taken me a long time to work that out, but we're getting there. And I think I can't stress to you how important that is. You've got to find your people to lean on, to cry with, because it's all right to laugh with all these people. It's easy to just have a great time because you can do that with everyone. But not everyone's going to pick you up when you're falling. Not everyone's going to look at you and go, here's my hand. And I've learned that a lot along the way. And it shocks you sometimes. A lot of things upset you sometimes, but it's a process. And you will get there. If anyone is feeling that at any point, you just have to really have a lot of self-belief that you will get to a point where everything becomes so clear, because it can get very, very foggy at times. And I think my whole time at the BBC in particular was very smokes and mirrors, because I was still figuring it out. I was the youngest at the station at that point when I got it. I think I was 25, 26, but back then I was the youngest. Everyone had like way years of experience over me. And it's hard when you're young and you're naive and you're still trying to work out this industry. Because to me, I was like, I just like the radio and I want to just give people a good time. I want to make everyone smile in the morning. I want to make you feel good, because I feel that's just what I'm good at. I want to be surrounded with the music that I love. I love my culture. And that's all I wanted to do. But I didn't realise, God, it comes with all of this too. And I didn't know what to do and how to handle that. But we've got there. Well, we got there in the end.
I'm so glad that you did, because I feel like that is definitely a separate journey you've taken in itself. Yeah. Apart from even figuring out being the youngest at the station and stuff like that, as you said.
Yeah.
I have to ask you, and this might sound like a really small question, following on from what the big things that you've just explained. What now keeps you motivated? Because I think keeping motivated is a lot to do with mental health. Mm-hmm. Is there anything particular that you would kind of draw on to say, okay, this one thing or these few things keep me motivated today after that whole journey?
I think there's a couple of things. I think one thing is I do a lot of reflection now, and I never used to do that before. I just focus on the bad and now what happens, the bad and now what happens. But I think now I've learned it's so important to look back on your career and remind yourself of how hard you worked to get somewhere, and give yourself your flowers sometimes, even if no one else is.
So true.
I never did this, ever. I always spoke bad about, not bad, but you just complain about everything. I've always complained about, I should have done this, or I could have done that, or this should have been better, I didn't like how I did that. And you forget, I've done some amazing things too. So I've learned, you have to learn to give yourself a bit of credit too. And that's not a bad thing. Everybody always thinks, look how she's talking about herself. So what? If I worked for it and I know how hard I worked and I know I'm good, no, I'm going to start telling myself I'm good, because I've realised I work harder and better when I do that.
Yeah,
I don't need that justification of someone else anymore that I used to wait for. I used to yearn for it. And I think social media did that to me. I was like, I'm waiting. Come on, guys. Did you love this? Did you like it? It makes you turn into that person of, I'm waiting for all the good feedback. What a horrible way to live. Like, I realised, stop that. Like, stop. You have to start to learn, no, I'm good at it. I'm great at it. But if you don't like it, it's fine.
It's okay, yeah.
So acceptance was a big thing. And I do that a lot now. I reflect a lot. So that helps me. That is a motivation. If I feel like I'm dipping or I'm going down and, down that road again of getting sad about things or wind myself up, I have to remind myself of the things I've done. And I'll quickly just go, no, it's okay. That was a massive opportunity. That was a big thing. It doesn't just happen, Harpz. You've worked for it. So I have to do that. And I guess the other thing that I would say motivates me, it actually is my family. My family are like my everything. And I think if people have followed my journey, you'll know that I'm a very family-orientated person. And when I see how happy they get with some of the amazing things that I've done or some incredible opportunities I've had, it just makes me want to do it more, because I'm like, this is what I live for. I just want to see them happy and feel proud of someone that really gave them a hard time when I wasn't getting, anywhere. And they were like, you're at this age and you're not making any money and you need to go find the right job. And it's finally nice to just be like, I told you, I'm going to do this. But it's also nice to see them share it with me now. Like, they're my biggest fans. They don't miss anything that I do. They've never missed a show. So yeah, I think they really give me that drive. When I look at them, I'm like, yeah, I'm doing this for you. I have to carry on.
That's lovely. That is really, really heartwarming to hear. And it's nice that someone is genuinely recognising that, because I think sometimes we forget about stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
It brings me very nicely to my next bit, where I was going to ask you that even though you said that you struggled with the social media, your social media, especially post-BBC, even during BBC up until a certain point, you are very real on there. You're not just the personality that is Harpz Kaur official. You are not just DJ Harpz Kaur. You're not just that person. Yeah. You genuinely share like if you don't mind me sort of mentioning,
No,
you've
of
shared
course.
stuff about your family.
Yeah.
You've shared the grief aspect of different grief aspects, I guess, different things that have happened in your life. You've shared struggles with your weight. You've shared various different things. And I think when I look at your social media, I sometimes think to myself, in a way, there was a point where I was like, why is she sharing that? And then I got to a stage where I was like, you know what? It's actually quite brave of you to share stuff like that, because not everyone does, for the pure point that they don't want, I don't think it's backlash so much, but maybe it's just too personal for people.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't want that side of themselves out. But also, then I look at you when you were Harpz Kaur, BBC breakfast show presenter, and you still showed up very positively and very great energy. And you did obviously have some personal struggles, as you just explained. How do you make that so well-rounded? That's basically the question. Because when I'm listening to you, I didn't know half of the stuff that you'd been through.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask this question anyway. So this kind of pits it in a different way. But yeah, how do you keep it so well-rounded on social media?
It's been a journey. It really, really has. Because when I was on breakfast, I also didn't realise how much of my life I needed to give. And it sounds silly, but when you really deep it, it's a lot. Every day I had to talk about what I'm doing, where I'm going, what happened, who was I with, where was I, what was I eating, drinking, sleeping. It's a lot. I had to share what I did yesterday, last week, tomorrow. Like, I'm constantly giving you everything that happens to me. And that scared me a lot as well. That was a lot, because I thought I don't talk about a lot of these things that I have now got to tell the world. Like, you don't just be an open book all day, every day. But that show did that to me. I was like, I had to give it, because you have to give your personality. You have to relate with people. You have to understand what your audience are going through too. But you give so much. And it was only like, I think 2-3 years into my time there where I stopped. There was a phase I went through, and I stopped sharing things on socials that were personal. I kept it strictly work. I'd speak about it on air, but I wouldn't share anything on my socials. Like, I wouldn't share too much of my family or too much of my friends or too much of whatever it was I was doing. I'd just keep it work. I was always active, but it was just my work stuff. Work. And it's because I got scared of the fact that a lot of people also get very invested in my life. And when I mean invested, there's a lot of scary things that come with that. You know, people get really obsessed. People really want to, like, know who my family is. Or, oh, that's her brother. That's her PT. That's her, like, it's too much. So in my head, I was like, I don't think I like this. There was a lot I didn't really like, to be honest, in that world. So I had to kind of hold it back a little bit for a while. Only in the past couple of years did I start to really just post what I want, but when I want. I don't have to show you every day what's going on, like, in my personal life, but when I feel it's something I just want to share, I think now I do it with a different perspective. I actually don't do it because of whatever it was before. Now I do it because my heart wants to just share something with people. There is no other reason for why I do it. Like, for example, I spend so much time with my family. Well, I try to. You know, I'm so blessed to have had a life with my grandparents, and that journey of sharing the loss of my granddad and, you know, another family member in the space of 6 months, especially last year. These kind of experiences in your life really show you a different side of what life actually is about. And it's not to put it out there and go, oh, look what I'm going through. I just like sharing the real side of what I am. I don't want people to just look at me as my job and, oh, she's a presenter, or she's on the stage, or she's talking to celebrities, or she's with this person, one and that. Yeah, it's all great, but all that glitters isn't gold. Not always. And sometimes I want people to know I also have a normal life like everybody else too. I am a normal person too. I have problems. I have hardships. I have responsibilities. I have priorities. I have difficulties. The list goes on. I'm just like everybody else, but people forget that. There's so many people that forget that in my life, that everything's just great for her. She must be living a great life. So now I just want to be real and raw. But I do believe I've been real and raw from the beginning. I do think even through my BBC time, I have always been honest. Like, I will just say it how it is. I do think with me, what you see is what you get. I like to think that I'm not different to what you see online. I'm just like that in person too. Because it's too much energy putting something on.
So true.
And I trust me when I say I've been surrounded by millions of people that do that on a daily in this industry, and I don't know how they do it. I don't even know how you do it because I can't. I really struggle to do this mask on, mask off thing. I really struggle of doing that. So I've embraced the fact that whoever I am and whatever I want to share now and tell people, that's just me. If I want to share what I did yesterday with my grandma, I'll show you that. If I want to share with you where I went with my friends tonight, if I want to show it you, I'll share it. But I just think it's not nice to glamorize an industry too much to people outside that are so naive to this, and they'll just assume things, and I don't like that. So I'd rather you just see I do have bad days too. I'm struggling too. And sometimes, you know, a girl just needs a little bit of hope and strength from everybody else when she's struggling, and that's why I do it. But I do want to stay authentic. One thing that scared me in this industry was that is when you're surrounded by people sometimes as well, that you see them change when they're in a studio or they're out the studio, and you just know how people change. I was terrified of being that person. I was so scared going, I don't want to be that. I don't want to do that because that's not nice. I'd look at certain people, not just where I was, by the way, I'm talking the industry as a whole, that, you know, sometimes you see people and you think something, but then you see them somewhere else and they're different. And that scared me. I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want people to think I'm something here and something there. I just want you to see me for what I am. So I think that's another reason I do that, because I just want you to know how I am. This is me.
I think that's such a strong thing that you've said, that you don't want to be kind of artificial in a way, and high five to you on that. I think we're so in the same boat.
So against it. Yeah.
I genuinely do feel like there are two types of people in the industry: people who put on the face very easily, and like I said, even I don't understand.
What you are.
Or you actually get
what they
exactly
are.
what the person is, and
it is just one or the other, really. It is.
High five.
Yeah, thank you. I'm trying my very, very best, and I promise you, what you see with me is what you get. That's just me.
Absolutely. I just want to touch on the fact that you're an ambassador for Calm.
Yes.
Which you very kindly explained to me is the Campaign Against Living Miserably, which is obviously a mental health charity which kind of, I think, looks after people whose families, I think, may have died by suicide. I don't want to reflect too much because we've had a very long mental health conversation, which I think has been really, really amazing and really interesting to hear you talk about so boldly, I guess. But when you were asked to become an ambassador for this particular charity, how important did it become for you?
So important. And I think it came at the right time. It was a perfect time. I was ready to talk about things then. I was ready to feel like I could give more on a particular platform like that at that time when it all happened. Because I was at an age where I was a lot older, I'm a lot wiser, I know how to deal with this now, I can cope with it better, so I find it easier to talk about. Whereas if you'd asked me 10 years ago during the peak of my career, there's no way I would have been able to do it. I would have just brought it down every 2 minutes. I'm the biggest empath as well, so I just wouldn't be able to do that. So it came at the right time, and I think it was so important to me because I've lived firsthand what it feels like to lose people to suicide. And that's not me saying losing someone in a different way isn't hurtful or however you want to put it. That's not what I'm saying. But when you lose someone because they wanted to end their life, it's sometimes a little bit harder because you're just left with no answers.
Exactly that, yeah.
You'll never get an answer. And I'm struggling with that. And I struggled for a long time. I've lost 4, 5, 6 people in my life to that. And I've really, really struggled. And surprisingly, they've all been men, which is why I went on my own little journey to discover why this was happening. And there's a real problem in this particular area that maybe we're not focusing on enough, and we're not figuring out where we're going wrong, what's happening. And I think that's why for me it was important, because I thought, I know what it feels like when you don't have answers and you're searching for them constantly, but you drive yourself mad. You will make yourself so ill to a point where you don't even know what's going on anymore because you're just still trying to figure out what happened. What the hell just happened? But the truth is, you're never going to know. You will never, ever, ever, ever know. It doesn't matter how much you try. You can try as much as you want. And I realized with this, with Calm, that when I looked into what they do and how they try to help people, you know, to prevent this from happening, my heart just kind of went, this is exactly what I want to do. I want to raise my voice and tell people what it feels like. I want people to know that I've also been in a dark place where I felt like my life is over and you want to do all sorts of things. I might not share that openly. I have now on a few different things and I'll touch upon it. But it's because I want people to know we're all human and you can get to a dark space. But that's not the answer to your problems. It's really not. And it's not worth it. And you don't realise how much pain you leave behind. And I understand it. We could go into a whole debate here and, you know, it's a bit selfish and blah, blah, blah. But I just want to be a voice for people to know that I know what it feels like. But I also want you to remember how precious life is. My message is, whilst I'm working with Calm, is that I just want people to know I know what it feels like, but it's not worth it. And I'm going to keep putting that out there, that it doesn't matter how low you are in your life, how down you get, that is never the answer. It's not worth it. I'm telling you, it's really not. And I know it's a difficult one where people would say, well, you don't know, you don't know what I'm going through, da, da, da. Well, I do, because I've actually been there a few times, but I'm also trying to tell you that you don't get given life to go do that. Life is a gift, and doesn't matter how difficult it gets, you've got to enjoy that process till God knows whatever date has been written for us. Sorry to get a bit morbid, but I just want to really stress that life is so precious and it's so short. Yeah. So like, that's why I work with people like that, because I just want to send out that message rather than let's dive deep into why it's happening. Of course, that's a different journey, but really, I just want to show people that why do you want to get to a point where you could just finish it and you didn't have a clue what was about to happen in your life? You would never have known how many more beautiful things were about to happen because you just chose to not do that. And I don't want people to feel like that, I guess. And I know I'm not God. I'm not a magician. I'm not someone that can just fix people's problems and be like, oh, because I'm saying it, you're going to listen. That's not what I'm doing it for. It's just I want to be a bit of hope for people, giving someone a bit of light and going that that's not the answer. You don't know what you could stop someone from doing. And again, it's something I said right at the beginning of this convo. I relate it to everything in my life. It takes one person. One person to say something, one person to tell you something, one thing for you to hear, one thing for you to see that can change everything like this. And if that means me just saying even just this much, if someone was watching now and you're in a horrible place right now, and I know what that feels like when you're so low and you feel like you're rock bottom, sometimes you just need to hear another person tell you it's all right, you know. Everybody's going to have a bad day, but there is always light at the end of the tunnel. It might be a long one. It might be very long to get there. And some people do go on for ages, you know, trying to walk through the dark. But I'm telling you, if you don't trust in yourself and have that belief that there is something at the end, you'll never know. So why let somebody do that? I just want to be a helping hand to say you've got someone. And there's so much help out there. Yeah. And I think culturally as well, our people just don't understand this. And I think that's the biggest reason I'm doing it. I need our culture and our people to really educate themselves and realise that you need to be a positive light for people, not the pressure. Stop being the pressure.
That's tough. I think that's really, I'm not going to say it's a really easy thing, but in a way it is a really easy thing to say when there is a lack of understanding and there's kind of in some ways an ignorance maybe. 100%. People just don't want to touch upon those. Yeah. That's exactly why we started this podcast, actually, to talk about mental health and even stuff like this. You know, the amazing things that Calm and charities are like Calm are doing. I think it's really important to have this conversation because, as you said, you know, the tunnel might be really dark and it might be really long. But, you know, as this, I don't know the exact saying, but as the saying goes, the hardest thing someone can do is come out of that dark space and do it themselves. Yeah. It might be with someone's help, with someone lending their arm to you to pull you up, whatever it might be, whatever your way is eventually. Absolutely. You are so right that is not the answer.
It's not. And I don't want to sound ignorant to the fact that, you know, I understand people go through so many things. Like I keep saying, I've been there. I know what that feels like. I'm just trying to say it's not worth it. I've seen those horrible endings and you just think, gosh, there was so much more in your life that you could have have done, seen, achieved, whatever it is. And you will feel so much more you feel more rewarded and satisfied if you just carry on walking through that tunnel until you get there and go, oh, I did it. You'd feel so much more better about yourself because you did it. You did that. No one else has done that for you. You did that. And wouldn't you want to feel better about something that you really fought? You know, this horrible battle that you've been dealing with in your mind and your life, that you got through that. You want to be that person to tell somebody else, I got through it, so you can too. That's just how life works. We're all going through stuff. Everyone's going through things.
Yeah.
But if you can't tell somebody else, look, I also went through this horrible thing, but guess what? I've dealt with it. And some people will be in that for months. Some people will be in it for years. I can't tell you how long something's going to last depending on what you're going through. But what I can say is if you've got the right people and you're turning to the right sources for help and guidance of helping you get through this, you can get out of it. You can do that. There's not just one answer every time you're in the dark of, okay, well, forget it. I'd rather just not be here. It's human nature to feel that way. Mm-hmm. But I'm just so against now thinking that is the answer. It's really not. You have to learn to pick yourself up. You have to learn how precious life is. You have to learn how lucky you are. Not everybody gets a chance at this. Not everybody gets a chance to do the things they want to do or be the person they want to be, or just live every day like it is your last. But you don't choose that. I don't think you should choose that. And we need to be the people to tell other people that it's all right. It's okay to have that bad day because there's going to be better days. There's always sunshine after it rains, whatever that saying is. Like, you know, it doesn't rain forever, right? Like the sun's always going to come out. There's always a rainbow. There's so many things I could say to make someone just understand. Doesn't that happen in real life? Yeah, it does. You don't see a storm every day. You see it here and there, but we just had some really nice sunshine in London last week and I was like, wow. You know, like the sun's back out again. So I'm just trying to put that into life too. Life is the same. You know, you're going to have bad days, but there will be better days too. And that's the reason I work alongside Calm. I just want people to realize we are the ones to help other people get through this, and we can.
Exactly.
We can.
I want to ask you a little bit about your female leadership, and I think you have led in this conversation about being a Calm ambassador. So thank you for steering me the right way. Yeah. So I feel like in your career and even afterwards, you have shown female leadership, but also showed leadership in your culture. I remember your appearance on Mastermind for one.
Thank you.
That's just one thing.
Yeah.
But I feel like you have led in certain ways, but specifically relating to your culture, I feel like you're such a strong kind of beacon for the Punjabi culture. And even though I'm not Punjabi, I felt it. That's what I want to say. But yeah, what makes you so kind of adamant in a way that you want to be this person who wants to show the strength and the beauties of culture? Because even though you've obviously been in the BBC Asian network, and obviously there is a specific Asian aspect in that, you didn't have to specifically go to other avenues and take your culture with you, a bit like Diljit Dosanjh. But yeah.
You're right, I didn't
you didn't have to.
Yeah.
So what makes you feel like you always want to?
It's a great question. Thank you. I feel, for me, it's a couple of things. One, I am a proud Punjabi. I am just a very proud Punjabi. I love it. I love my culture. Always have. I don't even know why. There's not an answer for that. I think I've just fallen in love with it since I was a little girl. I think a lot of it is to do with my upbringing. I think it depends on your environment growing up too. And I've been in such a typical Punjabi household that my first language was Punjabi. I didn't even know how to speak English at first in nursery. I'm sure my mum just told me the other day. I've just come back from home. I made a trip now and recently. And we were talking about when we were little, and my mum said something like, I still remember the first day I took you to nursery, and, you know, there was one of your friends was outside and you wanted to give her a tennis ball or you wanted to ask her if she wanted to play, but I said it in Punjabi. Oh. And so she's just looking at me like, what, you want to play? I don't know what language she's speaking. I didn't even know that happened. So what I'm saying is I think
that's funny.
It's so embedded in me from the beginning that I don't think I had a choice at first. I think it's just so in my blood, and I've lived with my grandparents my whole life. So obviously communication-wise, I had to learn the language. I was sent to Punjabi school by my dad at the age of 7. I got my GCSEs at the age of 13, 14, and my A-level. Like it was a weird time of my life. And I hated it going on a weekend. Like, who wants to go to school 5 days a week and then wake up at the same time on a weekend to still study? It was hard, but it paid off. It really did pay off. And so that element has always just been there. I feel like it's just, I can read and write Punjabi still. I speak it fluently. But as I've got older, there was things that I just discovered myself, like Punjabi music, Punjabi films. Like, I don't know what it was. It was just something I loved, and I grew to love it even more when I got into the industry. So I was like, oh, this is like such a beautiful culture. Like, it really, really is, and it comes with so much that people don't always know. So I wanted to be that voice and person to share it. And then once I got to my peak years, I'd say, when I was doing so many incredible things, something switched in my brain, and it was, when I first started doing what I do, there wasn't many brown girls, not even Punjabi. There was not many brown girls doing what I do. Yep. Now I look everywhere and it's just girls. It's amazing. But I'm just saying, it wasn't that easy for me when I was doing it. I had to break barriers and break boundaries in my family, being the first person to do stuff like DJing. It wasn't normal. So when I used to break boundaries and I'd do those things, like, you know, being the first person to do it, like, for example, when I was on CBBC and I did kids TV for 2-3 years, I remember I was the first brown girl to do that particular show that I was doing as an Asian girl on mainstream TV. And I can't tell you that feeling of going, oh, I just did that. I've always wanted to see someone like me on the screen, you know, whilst you're growing up. Now it's so normal. It wasn't back then. So when I used to do things like that and I'd achieve something like that, I was so proud. I was like, I want to open this gate for other girls to come through. I want to do this so more Asian people South Asian people can understand that we can too. I just like that buzz of telling someone else that you can do it as well, you know. I managed to do it, so you can. Like, the world will make you feel like you can't. The industry will make you feel like it's weird. And there's so many things that you'll go through, but I used to just like that feeling of, I just managed to do that. I actually just managed to do that. So I want to show everybody else you can too. So I think I just like the passing it on. I like that feeling of you can do it too. And now, I think in the world we're living in now, if we were talking about currently, I still want to do it because I just want to share our culture around the globe, and we see this in so many forms now.
Absolutely.
So many ways, so many, you know, especially in the music world, there are so many artists collaborating with mainstream people and constantly putting us on the map. And I believe I've always done that anyway, naturally, that now I just want to continue it. So yeah, when I got asked to do Mastermind, if you want to hear the story very quickly, is when they ask you for your specialist subject, I just froze for a minute. I was like, what do I know so much about? Like, confidently, what could I really speak about? And I thought, it's going to sound bad, and I'm into so many different things, but my culture is the only thing I sit here and I'd be like, test me, because I'm so like into it that I feel comfortable doing it. So I tried. I just tested the waters and went, do you think it might be possible if I could do this? And I thought, I'm never going to say yes to this. Like, why would they say yes to like a Punjabi artist? So I was like, can I do it on Diljit? And at first, they needed obviously a little bit more info. Can you send us things on who it is?
They'd have to do the research.
Sent everything. Questions. I was like, this is what he is. Please. Otherwise, I don't know what to talk about. And so I took the hit and I thought, no, I'm going to go on there and I want to show everyone that we could talk about this on mainstream TV too. Yeah. And I did all right. I came first in the specialist round, and that's all I went for. You don't want to watch the rest of it, but on the round of Diljit, we came first, people. So it just makes me happy that I get to do that. I've got the chance to do it, so I get to do that.
Of course, and you push that slight boundary in order to put your culture in it.
Yeah,
so
why
that's
not?
Even better.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm going to move towards the end of the episode. Harpz, I feel like I could go on forever talking to you.
I know I talk forever as well, sorry.
No, I think it's been amazing what you've shared. So thank you for being so open. Okay, we have 6 questions for this or that.
Ooh, okay.
You can explain your answer if you want to, but you don't have to.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, start early or finish late?
Start early or finish late? I'm going to explain this one just very quickly. Finish late, because I've done too many starting early at 4 a.m. I would love to finish late now. No more early starts. Sorry, that's the answer.
Totally
Finish
understand.
late.
Okay, to be poor and famous or rich and unknown? Unknown?
Oh, wow. What a great question to be. Sorry, just repeat that.
Poor and famous or rich and unknown?
Oh, that's a really hard question. Because I don't want to be rich. I don't feel like that's the motive of my life. Fame comes and goes. I'd rather be poor and famous, I think.
Okay.
And even though I'm not, I don't know, that's a really tough question, that is. It's really hard. Yeah, I think I'd rather be poor and famous.
Final answer.
Yeah, because, yeah. Yeah, let's just leave that there.
Okay. Time travel to the future or time travel to the past? I can't speak today.
Wow, these are great questions, man. Future scares me, so let's go back to the past. I think I'd like to relive some moments of my life.
Did not think you would say that.
Yeah, I think the future scares me. I don't think I want to know. It's just ride the wave.
Fair enough. Would you rather be DJing or dancing?
Dancing all day. All day.
Love it.
Easy.
Okay, so would you rather be the funniest in the room or the most intelligent?
Definitely the funniest in the room. Because I think I'm that already. I don't know about being the intelligent person one.
I know you'd bring your fun energy with you, I think,
all
wherever you go.
Yeah, let's be the funny one. I like to make people laugh.
Okay, last one. Would you live the past year again or skip ahead 1 year?
Skip ahead.
She says the future scares her.
Yeah.
And then she wants to skip ahead. What's going on?
I did just contradict myself there. I think it's because I hated 2025 with a passion.
Fair enough.
And I don't want to relive that. But your future does scare me, man. I feel like if someone told me this is going to happen, I'd just be paranoid and anxious every day. So I'd rather just ride the wave. Let's just see what happens. I don't want to know what happens.
That's fair enough.
That scares me.
That is fair enough. Thank you so much, Harpz. It's been lovely talking to you.
Oh, thank you so much.
And thank you, like I said, for sharing so many different things about your journey. And definitely excited to see what you're up to next. Can you give us a hint, maybe, of what you might be up to next?
What can I hint? Because I'm always working on so many different things. You will definitely see me in a different light very soon, in a different way. You'll see me, well, fingers crossed, I'm working on something. But you might see me in a different way is all I'm going to say for that, without giving it away.
That's interesting.
I'm always working on something new is what you need to know, though. Like, I'm always trying to work on things in the background of challenging myself, trying new things. So let's say this is a new thing I'm trying, but it will also make sense that I'm doing it too. So I'm just a bit scared, but let's see. I'm excited, a bit nervous, but we'll see.
Cool. It does actually sound quite exciting.
Coming very soon.
So good luck with whatever that is.
Thank you so much.
If you could just let us know where we find you on socials. I'm pretty sure a lot of people that will listen.
I mean, there might be a few people that don't still, but Harpz Kaur Official on everything, I think. And I've actually just restarted my YouTube channel again after 10 years of not being active on it, or 11 years, whatever it was. I figured that out. Harpz Kaur Official on there as well. I am going to try my very best now to start sharing things on there that you don't get to see. That's the only reason I've started it, because I think there's a lot of people that always ask me so many questions, and I thought, I just need a space to just show you it, because it's too much to talk about. So I'm trying my best. Bear with me. I'm old now, so I'm not like these young ones, you know, fast edit tomorrow. No. I need my sleep first, and then you can see it. So I'm being honest. I'm a bit slack, but we're going to get there. You can watch a lot of stuff that you don't get to see on my YouTube channel. So yeah, Harpz Kaur Official everywhere. And thank you so much to those of you that do follow me. It means the world, because I wouldn't be here without you. So thank you.
Oh, that's really sweet.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining, like I said.
Thank you.
And yeah, good luck with your YouTube channel as well.
Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. So again, what a great guest to have. I don't even know what to say after that, because it's been such a nice, wholesome conversation. And hopefully everyone who's listening and is watching our YouTube actually appreciate everything that Harpz has shared. This is Amrita signing out. We don't want to keep it in. We want to voice it out.